What's up, you guys? Welcome back on another episode of The Smart Talk, where we talk about real struggles, real stories, and entrepreneurs that came from the ground up. Today, I have a very, very special guest here today. I got my boy, Jawny Badluck, in the building.
Yes, sir.
What's
Stay
up?
bad.
What's up, big dog?
Good.
What's up, doggy?
What's up, Doggy?
Hey, doing doggy?
What's up, bro?
Shit, man. I appreciate you coming out here. You know, hopefully people they get to know like the real side of you. You know, everyone knows like you're a little pop star. You know, you got your music going. You're a real estate investor. But I want people to know like how you came up when from the ground up, essentially, bro. So tell me a little bit more about yourself, man.
Brother, I'm from New Mexico, born and raised, you know that. We're from the sand. My people are originally Italian. Shout out Italy. Shout out Sicily. But yeah, no, I'm from here, bro. I went to Cibola. Shout out my kids who went to Cibola. Went to Dennis Chavez Middle School, or elementary school, rather, and LBJ. My social security number is... No, just kidding. Just go down the full family history real quick. Yeah, so my address, my mother's maiden name. I actually brought my fingerprints today, like a sample. Dude, I'm just, I'm a local guy. I got out when I was 18. I really wanted to leave when I was 18 because I wanted to like chase my dreams. I didn't want to get stuck here, but I did almost get stuck here because like I was on more of like the other side of sales in those days, right? Mm-hmm. More of a street pharmacist, if you will. And, I had a whole like group of friends here, my family and everything. And it was really hard to leave. I moved to Florida by myself at 18 to go to college and like chase the dream, do the music thing. And bro, it was like the craziest experience because you go from living here your whole life, you're in this bubble. You guys ever meet people that like never have left here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is okay, right? If you haven't, that's cool. Make it a goal to get out. But for me, like when I started meeting people outside of here, I realized, bro, life is so much bigger than Albuquerque.
It is.
It is.
You go to a big city, bro, you're alone. Like you went from being at like a big dog in a little pond to being a little puppy shrimp gimp in the middle of an ocean.
Yeah.
No one knows you, no one cares. It was wild.
Yeah. You have to fend for yourself at that point, bro. It's like,
it taught me a lot, bro. Yeah. It taught me a lot of this little petty shit that happens here. It's like, it's not it, bro. Like
surface level.
We're all fighting each other and competing with each other. And it's like, bro, you haven't left New Mexico yet. Like, let's get on a plane. Let's go somewhere else. I challenge anybody, especially if you're young, like live outside of your home state for at least a year. Just challenge yourself. I promise it'll be the best thing you've ever done. Mm-hmm. You went to the military. You came from a whole other country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lived in 3 different countries.
You were making empanadas at one point and arepas, and all of a sudden you're here at the Smart Talk podcast.
I know. It's a crazy world. It's crazy how things
crazy.
come together, bro.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Insane.
But what made you get into music?
Honestly, I was a drummer growing up. I was a musician, right? Like I came from a family of singers, and no one was a rapper. I was like the only one that was into that because of my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Like I said, like growing up, I listened to a lot of rock and punk and like oldies. My mom listened to all this stuff from like the 50s and 60s and hippie music and the Beatles. But I like really resonated towards hip hop because I was more of a rebel. Like I was more of a bad kid. Mm-hmm. And I had a great family, like amazing mother, grew up really, really loved, but I just was super rebellious. Probably because I didn't really grow up with my dad. So I'm sure there was some kind of lineage in there that led to me being more rebellious than my brother. Mm-hmm. My brother was more of like a good kid. Mm-hmm. Like smart, did what he's supposed to do, goofed off a little bit, but a good kid. I was like a dickhead, like ran away, was doing this and that, selling this and that. You know what I mean? Just a punk. Mm-hmm. Just a total punk.
In your early 20s, what were you doing? Were you just working and doing music, or?
So I left here at 18, like I said, and I was there I did like a quick bachelor's. It was an accelerated program. Mm-hmm. So you got your bachelor's in 2 years instead of 4. So I was like 20, done with a bachelor's. But that meant you had to go the whole time. Like you had to go day and night. We had some of our labs were at like 12 in the morning.
Damn.
Like it was all the time schedule. There's no summer break, I didn't have like the normal college experience where you get to like do all the things, which I kind of regret in a way. I kind of miss the opportunity to go to like UNM. But that was the choice. The choice was stay here and go to UNM and like be around my friends and like cultivate that whole thing, or go and take the risk and kind of do my own thing. So it's kind of weird, you look back and you're kind of like, damn, what would it have been like if I would have stayed?
I don't think you would have been at this spot.
I don't think so either. I feel like I would be either dead in jail or like in the system for sure because of what I was doing before I left. And then I don't think I would have reached, I would have stayed around a certain caliber of like mindset and production and artists and stuff like that. Even though, by the way, there's some of the best artists in the world are here. Like there's amazing talent, but it's the mindset of getting out of here.
Yeah.
You go to a big city, all of a sudden everyone's like gunning for the big thing.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be on top. And so it really like taught me a lot, bro. Even from my style, I go there, bro, this is 2009. I get out to Florida and I'm like, wait, no one wears baggy stuff anymore? Like New Mexico was like 10 years behind. Like they were already in Miami and in Orlando where I lived. Everyone's in like tighter shirts, money pants, like everything's all skin, tight. Mm-hmm. And I'm over here with like 3 XXL just flowing all the way down to my knees, It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. So it's taught me a lot. Style, culture, knowing how to work with different people from different backgrounds, I was hanging out with a bunch of dudes that were rolling backwoods. I'd never heard of a damn backwood. I was used to Swisher Sweets. And I was like, what the fuck's a backwood? You know what I mean? and they showed me how to roll that shit. And I was like, wow, that's intense. That's a lot to smoke one little thing.
Yeah.
Well, all those experiences like put you out of your comfort zone. So you gotta like.
That's the point.
Yeah.
It puts you in this. I mean, here I am, just this little white kid, like from New Mexico. You know what I mean? And even though I'm a rebel and I've been around a lot of crazy shit and I've done a lot of crazy shit, it's like, boom, you're in this whole new universe where you are tiny. And so you have to rebuild. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like really helped me build character. It showed me like, bro, if you really grind for something, you can go to heights you could never imagine, that your friends or the people around you that maybe aren't as ambitious that they could never imagine.
Uh-huh.
And that's amazing, bro.
And I like how you touch on that point because if you want to get to that certain type of level or lifestyle, you got to network,
You have to network.
And I know you do a great job of that. Like, how did you get to know, like, I know you know a lot of multimillionaires that people have touched real money and, like, go travel around the world. Like, how did you get into that, like, little circle?
So, damn, bro, we're going into crates right now, dog. All right, so, like, most people don't really know, but after, I don't like how my socks look. What the fuck?
Fix the socks, man.
Socks, bro. Cut these socks out of the damn movie.
8 doors, doggy?
6 doors, doggy? 28 doors? Lost 100K, doggy? So here's what happened. I got out of college. I moved to Miami. So here was the next step, right? For most people, and again, like all love to anybody wherever you are on your journey. But for me, I noticed a lot of people around me didn't even finish college. Like the people who were in my program, you started with like 100. Mm-hmm. You ended with like 20 in your graduating class. So it's already narrowed down to like who could finish, who could see it to the end. But then what happens on graduation day? What do most people do? Go right back to mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
They move right back home and kind of figure it out for the next few years, right? Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just was like, no, bro, I'm not doing it. I'm not moving back to New Mexico and like retreating. I was like, I'm going to double down. I'm going to move to Miami.
Damn.
So I was in Orlando and now I moved to Miami by myself. No friends down there, no nothing. I just had one connection at a studio. It was called Studio Center Miami. And I had the opportunity. I was like the front desk guy and the runner. Like I would drive to the grocery store and buy blunt wraps for Fat Joe, Rick Ross, their team, the people that were on their labels at the time. This is like early Maybach Music, mm-hmm. right? And Fat Joe, I remember, this is kind of funny. He always wanted sugar-free Red Bull. It was always sugar-free Red Bull. Like he wanted cases of it. They'd be like, yo, go get 12 sugar-free Red Bull. I'm like, what? And you'd have to pick up Backwoods or Dutchies or whatever they smoked. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. So I went down there. I worked in the studio. I was an intern. Didn't get paid anything. And after a while, you're like working little jobs on the side trying to raise money. Eventually, I kind of retreated, to be honest with you. Mm. It was too big. It was too big of a move that I made. Right, I took that risk, but you get there and you're looking at these fucking buildings and there's so much money. Yeah. And here I am with my little Gucci belt that I bought. Remember I told you when I was 21, I bought that Gucci belt? Yeah. I still have it to this day, and I bought it when I moved to Miami because I thought at the time that's what made you cool. That's what made you part of the culture, because that's what all the rappers wear, and that's all these rich motherfuckers are wearing that shit. And here I am, I spent $300 I shouldn't have been spending. And like within a few months, it kind of started to dry up. The reality of what I was doing was like, oh, fuck, this is not really that fun. It's kind of a drag. Mm-hmm. I'm working all the time. I don't get paid to be in the studio, and I'm working these other little shitty jobs. So I eventually got an opportunity to go back to Orlando and work full-time at a studio. That was, shout out to the bros, Vladimir, Carlos, 407, the Spot Studio. That place forever changed my path. you know, and I got to work in the studio for like a good year and just work with artists day in, day out. I got really freaking good at the process. And you're dealing with, it's psychology again. You're dealing with, it's almost like sales before you knew you were in sales. Because you're having to deal with all these different clients, singers, weird slam poetry people, you know what I'm saying? Like, which is dope. I respect it, but it can be a little eccentric. Rappers, singers, trap artists, banjo, fucking mariachi bands. Tuba, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Sure, variety of music.
Bro, it was a
coming out of
variety. So you can imagine, here I am, I'm like 19, 20, turning 21, you know? This is like right in that range of 20 to 21. And like, you just have to act so quickly. Like you feel so alone because you're not around any of the people you grew up with or your family. So you're on this journey by yourself and you have to learn how to move quickly and think fast. And so that did a lot for me, bro.
I know in your younger 20s, you were doing high ticket sales. Is that correct?
Well, okay, so in my early 20s, like around that age, I went from working in the studio, and that sounds like a hero's journey in a way. Like, oh yeah, I went to Miami, it failed, then I got this full-time job at the studio, and everything was great. No, unfortunately, it all kind of crashed and burned again. It got to a place where I was so burnt out working in the studio, I hated my life. Like here I am, I got the thing that I wanted, which was to have a career in music.
Yeah.
As an engineer while I work on my own music, but I felt like I was chained to it, and it was still not that much money. And I'm just thinking, I always had that vision of like, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be a millionaire before I'm this age or before this age. Of course, that bracket always seems to go up. Right? Right? You're like, all right, so after 22. All right, so 26 is looking good. So, but you know what I mean? Like, I always had that vision for myself. And like, I always just believed it. I'm like, I'm gonna be a multimillionaire. I'm gonna have all the things I've ever wanted, and I'm gonna help other people. I'm not gonna be a dick about it, but I know that I'm capable of achieving that. And so I just realized really young, bro, at like 21, I'm like, dude, I'm like a slave to this studio. I hate my life in a way. Even though I'm blessed, I'm in the industry. I don't work at McDonald's. I'm not working at freaking Tilly's folding clothes. How you doing, ma'am? What can I put on your fries? Would you like fucking ketchup with
Just
that?
put the fries in the bag, bro.
Right? And again, no offense, by the way, because I've also been there, right? We've all been there. So don't take any of this offensively if you're listening. This is a testament to you can get out of all that bullshit.
Absolutely.
I used to flip burgers but I flipped other things too. So I remember when I used to work at Party City before I moved to Orlando, before I left here, I was working at Party City to kind of like make it look legit that I was making some money. I remember I lasted like a few weeks and it was around Halloween season. So you'd have to go in the back and climb this freaking gnarly ladder up to the top. And you're searching for this stupid Princess Leia outfit or whatever. And of course it's missing the fucking hairpiece or the wand or something. And dude, it's like hella dangerous. You're up there like super hot. And dude, I remember I would make more money on my lunch breaks than I would all day.
Damn.
At the job. So I realized, I'm like, dog, this ain't for me, bro. I need to find something else that's like I get paid more per hour, more for my time.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, street pharmacy is not a good long-term career. So we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to glorify that at all. It's not glorious. It's stupid. But, you know, it was part of my life. It was. For quite a while. And so anyways, you know, I guess as far as the sales goes, once I was sick of the studio, I really was like at this turning point of like, here I am 21 and I'm like kind of lost. I'm like, fuck, I've made a life in Orlando. I've made a life in Florida. I did it. I never went home, right? Like I'm semi-successful, but still like broke. And I was living with some roommates. I was really like uncomfortable living with these roommates because I moved in my girlfriend. Bad idea. Don't do that. It's not a good idea.
I can attest to that too.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So we had a situation where we had to get out. I was actually technically homeless for a while. Now, thank God I was able to live in like shitty ass, cheap ass motels, and couple nights slept in the car, like in between events. Like it was when I first got into doing live production. Instead of being in the studio, I learned that live production pays a little bit more. It's a little less demanding. And so I started doing these gigs on the road for this company that was putting on like real estate seminars. And of course at the time I'm like, this shit's a scam, bro. I'm in the back like running cables and running the microphones. I'm literally doing this. I'm doing this exact job, but at a huge seminar. Big ass screens and projectors, the corner lights, the down lights, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I just realized, I'm like, God, these guys are douchebags. I was like, if these guys can make all this money doing this, like, and I just thought it was a scam. To me at that time, I thought real estate was a complete scam because this was the recession. This is like, 2011 now, 2012, right?
Yeah.
So we're at the deepest part of our recession, post 2008. So everything I'd ever heard was that real estate sucks, don't do it, right? And now we, of course, know many years later what really happened, right? That big bubble. Like now we would have seen that so differently. Mm-hmm. I would almost be excited for 2008, not for people to get hurt and lose their homes, but the after effect as an investor is it's cleanup season.
Sorry, sweetie.
Sorry, sweetie. The house is mine. And I don't mean that to be a dick. I really don't. Like, I would never intentionally put somebody out. But if someone's house is in foreclosure and it's for sale by the bank, yeah, I'm buying it. It has nothing to do with the person at that point. They're already out. They lost the house. But the bank, they're going to sell that asset at a discount. Anyways, we'll get to that later. So basically what happened, dude, is I got around all these millionaires. And I at first was like, these guys are douchebags. But then I realized they're not. They're actually, why did I think they're douchebags? Because they were so happy. They seemed so peaceful. They seemed so hyped up on life. And I'm like, oh, shit's corny, bro. Too cool for school. We know a lot of those people out here.
Yeah.
Too cool for school, bro. You're so dope. Now, you know what they taught me? You know a good phrase? Remember this. I'd rather be... Wait, what is it?
Bro, I was ready.
Wait, what is it?
We're waiting.
Oh, you can either be cool and poor or corny and rich. Which one do you want to be?
I don't know, I'm taking the bag, dog.
Yeah, I'm taking the bag. You can call me
bag.
corny. You can call me silly, goofy. I don't give a fuck. If you're getting the bag and you're changing people's lives, including your own, your family's, your future, you're stacking up assets, call me corny all you want, bro. You can be the cool one. You can be the cool doggy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That for some reason, it was like, at the time I didn't want to hear it. Because you're like, no, you can be cool and rich. Of course you can be cool and rich, but it's more about a mindset. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can be Mr. Cool over here, too cool for school, but really the people who are wealthy, they're doing shit at a different level. They're operating in a different way.
Yeah.
They think differently than cool people that go and put themselves in a Beamer that they can't afford and they live in an apartment. That doesn't make any sense. You're trying to be cool you're trying to look rich as opposed to being rich. And fuck being rich, be wealthy.
Whenever you're working for that real estate company, I know you ended up, doing kind of like the slave work as far as setting up the mics and the TV screens. Like, you end up being one of the people that were actually selling the courses. Like, how did that happen, bro?
So I will say that, I worked for a company called Orlando Productions. That was when I left the studio world. I was done being an engineer, right? Now I'm in live production like this, like running microphones like this. And like I said, I got around all these dudes, these millionaires, these 100,000aires. And I remember I thought some of them, I'm like, you're not that smart. Like, I'm not that smart. I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not the sharpest burrito in the tamale plate at the taco cart, am I? But like, I know that I'm not the smartest one, but I know I'm a hard worker, right? So some of these dudes, I'm like, bro, if I could just outwork this motherfucker, I know I could do what he does. Because I started watching them. I'd be sitting in the back running the microphones and doing the fucking projections and all the things. But meanwhile, I'm watching what they're teaching instead of me sitting on Facebook dicking around like my coworkers.
Yeah.
That's where they messed up. They just thought this was all garbage. I started listening. I'm like, wholesaling? Flipping? What does that mean? I was like, oh, it's a scam, right? But then I started to realize after more and more events, you're like, it's not a scam. Actually, this is very real. And I remember, bro, it's so crazy because, you and I, for the people, him and I have actually been in business together and we've done wholesaling together. At this time in life, I just remember thinking, gosh, if I could make an extra, if I could make like $4,000 in a month, just it's so crazy how where you are in life, how things seem so monumental. Yeah. Right? You're like, if I could just do that, that would change my life forever. Right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly.
And then each level you go, it's funny how you look back and be like, wow, that's like humble. It's humbling.
It is.
Because now the next thing, you're like, Jesus, I got to get to that thing now.
Yeah.
That thing's like, that's barely paying the bills. And it's really interesting, though, because I started watching this, paying attention, and asking questions. I became friends with these millionaires. They started treating me less like, oh, I'm just the AV guy. I'm just the audio video guy, a little peasant. They treated me like an actual human, which was cool. And I earned the respect, though. That was the thing. So they didn't like some of the AV guys because they acted like donkeys. They wouldn't pay attention. They'd miss their cues. I was always on cue. And I was a music guy. I'm an artist. So I actually loved, like, they'd have us do these things called the Crush It. Actually, you know what? We're going to do this for the people real quick. This is what we would do. It's so cheesy. But at that, we got a Rolex. It was cheesy, but this is what we would do before we would go to the breaks, okay? So they're doing the live presentation. You see somebody on stage, and they would go to a break. They do something called the Crush It. I used to think this was so effing corny when I was working there, and I was just, like, watching from the back, like, oh, please, buddy. I was like, crush it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, crush it. But no, it's actually kind of fire. Let's do it together. So here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
What we do is we go 1, 2, 3, crush it. Okay?
All right.
But first we're going to break it down like, okay?
All right.
Okay.
And then we're going to break it down, okay?
All right.
So...
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm joking. All right, so let's do it on 3. I just wanted you guys to clap. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Crush it.
Yeah, that's what they would do. It was so cheesy. But what it taught me was that these guys had a lot of energy, and I was like, you know what? Even though these motherfuckers are weird and they're kind of cheesy, I was like, I want what they have. I've never met people like that. Mm-hmm. You know, you come from here, all you know is like, your uncle sold weed or something, or like, you know what I mean? or like, you know, my auntie's in solar, you know, or like, you know, you might have someone in your family that excels a little bit, but it's not as often out here, right?
Uh-huh.
So to be around people with real paper that are wearing watches and things you've only heard of, that are talking about things you've only heard of in movies, and you see their car keys, you're like, holy shit. You're like, I want that, you know? And so it took me years, bro. It took me 4 years of being a grunt worker, of doing microphones and running all the big screens and pushing these 1,000-pound cases, breaking my freaking back for not that much money. It was decent, but it was not much money. It was a very humble living. To going from that to starting to bring a suit to work. I started to show up as the AV guy with a suit, looking moneyer than the salespeople. Like, I just came up with this idea. I'm like, well, if I just fake it till I make it, I'll start talking to the people in the crowd, show that I know how to network, and I'll start listening to how they do their sale. I'll start paying attention, right? And dude, slowly but surely, people within the company kind of gave me some tips and maybe let me in on a little bit of their training, their script a little bit. And dude, I got a phenomenal opportunity at one point. I like cornered one of the managers after an event one day. It's been like 9 hours. I'm in my suit as the AV guy, collecting the microphones, doing all the things. And I was like, Carly, I need to talk to you. And I went and sat her down outside the ballroom, and I sat her down, and I started just spitting their script. I was like, hey, before we get started today, let me explain kind of how the process goes. I know that you haven't seen the presentation yet, and I just went through I memorized it. And she was like, holy shit. She's like, you really want to do this? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, of course I want to do this. But then everybody and their dog tried to stop me. That was the shitty part. I got excited because I had the main person I needed to be like, yeah, let's maybe give you a shot, but we got to talk to upper management. They all tried to shoot me down. So again, another blockade. Mm-hmm. It's interesting about success, bro. We all know how this goes. You work hard for something, and then there's an obstacle sometimes. You get closer to something, like, oh, I almost have it. Oh, fuck. The doorway closes.
You climb one wall, there's a bigger one to climb after that.
Yeah. And I actually got told no. So even though I did all this work, I like prepped, I'm thinking, I'm making it happen. It's happening. I'm manifesting. All of a sudden, the main sales manager called me one night on the way to a show, by the way. I was going to perform in Tampa, Florida, and he's like, yeah, sorry, bro, we can't do it. There's too many other people from within the company we would hire before you. Like, why would we hire you? You're from the AV company. It was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, because I didn't have any sales history, only street sales. Mm-hmm. I couldn't put that on a resume.
Right.
Okay, so I thought Molly, don't, just kidding. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't do that, right? So I was basically looked at like, bye, bro, go the fuck away.
Yeah.
So then I go on this mission, and I kept trying. I just kept pushing, and I kept calling Carly. Thank God for you, Carly Kohler, wherever you are in the world. You changed my life forever. But I also put in the work to do it, and eventually she got me an interview. I flew out to San Diego. It was a 9-hour gauntlet interview where you have to sit in front of 4 managers, one of them being the guy who denied me. And by the way, imagine this. You're sitting across from 4 different people. One of them is like, she's like really happy, smiling at you. The other one, the guy who doesn't like me, Mikey, shout out my boy Mikey to friends. We're boys now. He was like, he was literally like asleep. Then you had this other guy, Noah. just intently looking at you. And then you have this other lady, Carly, who's the one that I really like, who was like, she's like so excited. So you're having to group interview with these four. Imagine going to get a job and it's not one person, it's four of them grilling you.
Yeah.
They made you go through this whole gauntlet. They made you spit your intro how you would do it from stage. They made you network. They put me in a room with just them, just like this, and it was for them. They go, all right, it's after the first break. We just did the crush it. Should bring that back in. We just did the crush it. Okay, we're back from break. Everyone's back, la, la, la. Okay, cool. Go. So I was like, wait, what? Like, you just have to just go. You have to just start networking with four of them in the room, just me and them. And they're like, okay, he's a contractor. That's his wife. He's a doctor, and she's a school teacher. Go. And I just had to do it. I just had to figure it out in the moment, how to like network with all these people. And it was really, really hard, but I felt like I crushed it. Like, I felt like I just watched enough events. I knew all their stupid little phrases and like their little things that they do that I felt like I murdered it. Because I blew the intro, by the way. I blew the intro. I was like, hi, my name's John Luke, and I'm, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, I totally biffed my intro, but I killed the networking. And ultimately, it led me to getting the job. So that was a long story, but basically, it was a really long journey to get into the sales side. It was not easy. Like, everybody told me no, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, your sales experience, did you, whenever you start, you know, I know you start killing it in sales and stuff like that, right? And doing high ticket sales, that money, did you put it back into your music and into your own brand? Is that kind of how you grew yourself?
Yeah, definitely. It helped, you know, like I remember distinctly when I started going out on the road, especially doing sales, when they like fully brought me from the AV company, which, by the way, shout out Orlando Productions. I was the only employee in company history that ever jumped ship to the actual client that we were working for via them. So that was kind of cool. That was a little honor. But basically, what was the question? Fuck.
I said the money you made.
Oh, yeah. That was kind of the mission all along, by the way. I didn't just want to get money. I wanted to fucking be an artist. My whole mission this whole time, guys, was to just leave New Mexico and become a star, right? That's what it was. You were going to blow up. Your music's you're going to make it. You're going to take care of your mom. You're going to buy your mom a house. You're going to retire her for real. You're going to take care of your pops. Make sure your brother, your nephew's good. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's crazy as time goes on, right? And it's like years are going by and you're like, fuck, I haven't done that yet. Yeah. Right? So I was really motivated. I was really motivated to make real money and do something with it so that my music could actually get there. So yeah, I started, I just doubled down. Like, I bought a house when I was 22, you know, right when I had, even before the sales, by the way. I just learned from those guys how to do it, and I wasn't scared, and I just took action. And it was really hard, and there was a lot of downfalls on the way to get it, but I got it. And in my house, I built a studio, and that was like dope because I'd come off the road for a couple days. I traveled Thursday through Monday. Mm-hmm. So you're always on a plane and in a hotel all over the country. Like, I've been to like 48 states, right? And still haven't been in North or South Dakota though.
Oh man, I don't think you're missing out.
So I wasn't prepared for any information on that one. Hey Siri, what you got? And like, it was cool because I'd come home and I'd work on music in between events. But I do recall feeling like for a while I was like, you know what? To get really good at this, the sales side, I have to like stop music for a bit. It doesn't mean you completely stop writing, but I had to step away from wanting to be the artist. And that's why I disappeared for several years. I was still like putting stuff out, but really only on like SoundCloud. And it wasn't until 2016 that I started kind of going again, right? I started really like, all right, putting some things out. But then 2018 was a breakout year for me. That was Last Cigarette. That was when I like came back in heavy. I met Grand Bay Studios. Shout out to my fucking brother, Knowledge. Rest in peace. I met him in Tampa, Florida. Huge part of my journey. And I remember when I went out there, recorded with Mixed by Lex. Shout out to Lex. By the way, Lex was the one that I went to Capitol Records with Hondro. We'll get there. And I recorded Last Cigarette. That was huge. We did that video in New York. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like the beginning of really coming out and popping out with it. And then Southwest Fiesta was the next, like, the level up. Shout out to Hondro, 12 to 12 Productions. That was huge for me. That really changed the game. Because it put me on a bigger scale here, and like a lot of people recognized me. We had ads running all over Google and freaking YouTube. Like, it was dope, bro. Fuck yeah. But that was 2020 actually when that happened. So from that point on, it's been like a real push, you know. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that I was totally stagnant, but it wasn't until I got off the road and quit, got out of sales, I completely bailed on it.
Yeah.
Like I had the golden handcuffs and I said, peace.
Yeah.
Left with a Rollie and an Audi and said, bye. And by the way, everybody thought I was fucking insane. My family thought I was crazy. My friends, my coworkers were like, bro, you're so stupid. Why would you leave this? Why would you leave a multiple six-figure opportunity? I just believed in this shit, bro. It's always been about the music.
What accomplishments did you get with your music so far?
I mean,
you mentioned a couple of the songs.
I mean, some of the things they're small things, but they're big to me. Like, obviously, like a big one that I'll always be proud of. And shout out Hondro for this. And shout out my boy Knowledge, too. He produced the beat. Southwest Fiesta, man. We got on the Billboard charts. It was on a compilation album, but it was still, we hit number 17, which was dope as fuck. That was in October of 21. Yeah. No one can ever take that away from us.
Yeah.
It's there. It's imprinted. You can't fake the funk.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, more so than that is like, when we did a show right down here downtown a couple years ago for my release of Handsome, we actually sold out. And that was like my first sold out show where it was my show, and with the help of the other artists that were there and everybody was there. You were in the building, right?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I was present.
Yeah. Hell yeah. We got some fire photos from him. By the way, make sure you hire the boy. Make sure you go to Hookah Kings too. But yeah, that was a really big one for me, bro. To see that level of support, to see that many people, to see how many people knew the words from years of doing shows and them not knowing all the words, it felt really cool. And then Rio Rancho Event Center, we did that 3 times. Lil Wayne, 3-6 Mafia, High Times. Fantastic, bro. Yeah. Amazing experiences.
Bro, when it comes to being an artist in New Mexico, do you feel like you're the face of New Mexico when it comes to making music?
What kind of question is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I would never say that. Like, I'm really confident, So, like, I personally don't believe I have any competition. I'm not in competition with anybody out here because you should really be competing with yourself. But I also understand what I bring to the table. Like, there's a lot of amazingly talented artists. There's also a lot of amazingly talented people in the world that will never get to the next level. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's people that are way better than me. First of all, way better artists, better rappers, better singers. They look better, they can sing better, they can write better songs, but they will never have the drive, the motivation, or the thing that I do think that it takes to go there because it's really fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Like, you've seen how much the struggle has been, some of those nights, how dark it can get on this journey. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to actually say, you're not just an artist that raps and sings and puts out songs, but you're actually creating a career of this. That's a whole different thing. And I do feel like I possess that. I feel like I have it, and I feel like I have garnered that and nurtured that, and I feel like that's what I'm destined to do. So if that makes me the face, great. I just want to represent us in a good light.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to look better than just Breaking Bad, and I don't want it to just be more trap music that we're known for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Respect to the trap artists. I get it. I'm with it. I love it. I used to be very much in that world, and so I can respect it. In fact, I do want to shout out somebody by the name of Blocka Solo. He is like one of the hardest fucking rappers I've ever heard, and he's right here in Albuquerque.
Yes, sir.
He is so fucking ill. People do not give him enough flowers. We're not even in the same world at all. We'd probably never be on the same song, but maybe that'd be tight. But I do want to give him respect. But as far as like, being the face of New Mexico, a more marketable commercial artist, I think I have what it takes to go all the way.
I agree.
Do you have anything big planned coming up? Like, you got any potential signings or
releases?
Damn you, Shotty.
Yeah.
I mean, without saying too much, I don't want to say too much on here. I don't know when this is going to come out. Do you edit this at all, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, yeah. Fuck these socks, bro. Should have fucking wore different socks.
It's all right.
Don't put that
They
in.
won't be looking at the socks. They'll be looking
All right,
at
looking
your
at your
face.
dunk. Yeah, okay, so what was the question? Oh, yeah. So I actually do have, I have some really cool, I don't want to announce it yet, but we do have something special. Shout out my boy Caldy Flay, who's helping me out with a very special situation with a particular label that we're talking to, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into details. But I do have a single that's coming out. I'm excited about it. It was supposed to come out on Valentine's Day. It didn't happen. I think it's called Too Late, which is ironic because it's kind of late. And it's actually kind of a breakup song, but it's very fire in my opinion. It is very clean, commercial, ready to go. Great banger.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion in it, and we recorded it at On the Moon Studios with Nick Johnson. Shout out Nick. Super excited about it. And then I got so much stuff in the vault just ready to go. I've just been waiting.
Shit,
I've been quiet for a while, bro.
I know, man. Yeah, I've been
no,
quiet.
We're excited
I've been
for
quiet.
the comeback.
Yeah.
We're excited for the comeback.
Me too, bro. I'm excited to be with my friends, the people I love. I'm healthier. We're back from Bali. Our energy is healed. You know, if anybody is dealing with any sort of, if you're watching this, like the mental illness, the internal dialogue of negativity, drug addiction, any sort of addiction, like really just know that it's not the end and it's not a life sentence and you don't have to stay there. You can choose and you can get out of it. Sometimes it does seem very dismal. Mm-hmm. There's been many times in the last couple of years where I wanted to completely stop all this shit, like doing music. Mm-hmm. And people ask me, like, you're fucking crazy. You have momentum. Like, you have movement. Like, you're doing it. Why would you say that? And it's like, bro, because it's fucking really, really hard. Yeah. And anything worth having is hard, but it's a different kind of hard because it's really lonely.
Yeah.
You're chasing something that people, until you get there, they don't really believe in it. They might be like, yeah, I fuck with you, dog. I fuck with your music, you know? And hopefully that's genuine. But really, at the end of the day, until 10,000 other people are saying it, they're kind of like, yeah, you're cool, bro. Yeah, your shit's tight. As soon as 20 girls in the same room say, oh my God, Jawny Badluck is dope as fuck. I love his records. I listen to that shit while I'm putting my makeup on. He's like, yo, fuck yeah, he's dope. Yeah, fuck yeah, he's dope. You see, it's the herd effect, the sheep effect.
Yeah.
So my mission this year is like, bro, I don't care if no dudes like my music. I would rather your girlfriend like my music than you, period.
Hey.
Because she's the one that's going to bring her friends and she's the one that's going to buy merch. And then what do the dudes do after that? No, let me go with you. Go see Jawny Badluck. And by the way, shout out to the dudes that do like my music. I appreciate you. I really do. But I'm not making this shit to be cool for the bros. I'm making this shit to make a wave and make real music and tell my story and tell stories of people that I love.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on here and telling people your story and how you basically came up. You know, I hope people get really inspired by you and continue to follow your story and journey because you still have a lot more. You still got a lot more coming in the vault.
We're just getting started, baby.
You're just getting started.
I feel like
man.
we're just starting.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you. I hope people get inspired by you, bro. You're really inspiration for a lot of people, bro.
Thank you, bro.
I hope people
That's inspiring,
bro.
I appreciate you guys, and I'm sorry
bro.
for rambling on some of that stuff. It's hard because there's so many things, you know, so many stories. You're trying to like keep it short, but there's a lot of strings that led us here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like
bro.
we didn't even get into the fourplexes or any of the flipping or any of that kind of crazy stuff. Like, yeah, we'll definitely have to do it again.
Yeah,
We'll
I got you, bro. Before we end today's podcast, I want to give a huge shout out to our two main sponsors. We got Hookah Kings, the top-rated hookah lounge in New Mexico, where we pride ourselves on great customer service, and Marino Media, quality content for your business and image. And see you guys next time on the Smart
Hookah
Talk.
Kings, baby.